Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Who Invited Her. We are San Diego's LGBTQ pop culture podcast. I am your host, Tony. And this week I am with just one host, one of my other hosts.
Just me.
You're
stuck with just me.
Brynne's here.
Okay.
Eric is not here this week, you guys. He is unfortunately sick.
Thoughts and prayers.
Sick my ass.
Sending good vibes.
He's been putting dirty things in his mouth. That's what he's been doing. No, I'm kidding.
Daddy says
No,
you're
I'm
a
kidding.
dirty word.
You're a dirty word?
Yeah.
Wait, what's that from?
I can't remember now that you're putting me on. I can't remember because it's like, he goes up to the moms and my daddy says you're a dirty word.
He is a dirty word.
A
Eric's a dirty word.
We all are.
We all are. But you guys, this week we have a very special coming. Let's try that again. Boom. This week, we have a very special guest calling into the show in a little bit. I'm very excited to talk to him. His new album just dropped September 16th. It's called Unbreakable. He is Chadwick Johnson. Singer-songwriter Chadwick Johnson is going to be coming on the show to talk about his new album, his record release tour that he's doing. He's going to be doing a Christmas show in LA this fall.
Yeah.
So his music is a little, how do I say? It's absolutely good. Don't get me wrong.
Amazing. He's very
talented.
talented.
He's, I would say contemporary. Like adult.
Yeah, like how would you classify it? Yes.
Yeah, how would you?
Yeah, for sure.
With a little bit of jazzy, blues, country influence. His new album, Unbreakable, is like power ballad after power ballad. So and it's a very personal album.
Yes.
So I'm super excited to talk to him and hopefully I don't fangirl out because I'm actually a fan of his before.
You are, and I didn't know this, Tony. You've only told this to me 82 times before the show.
Shut up. So I'm really excited. He's going to be coming on the show in a bit, and we're going to chat about his new album and all that. But I want to talk about, last weekend, like we said, we had Red Dress Party here in San Diego.
Yes.
Yeah. San Diego's Red Dress Party happened. It's the biggest HIV fundraiser here in San Diego, and all the money that's raised stays here in San Diego. So we had talked about it. I'm going to put a picture up. Did you see the picture of all of us?
Yes. I'm so jealous.
I looked a mess.
No, you looked
As
great.
you guys could see, it'll be up on the screen. I was like telling one of my friends, like when they sent this picture, I was like, wow, that is like the oddest group of people. And like my pose is like one eyebrow out.
Together?
I have no idea where I'm looking, but not at the camera. It looks like the weirdest family photo.
Yeah, it looks
so
like the
awkward.
oddest Addams family.
And here's like Eric, who's not here, in his cheerleading outfit.
Eric's cheerleading outfit was wild.
Yeah, it was a really fun event this year. I have to give a shout out to one of my favorite outfits of the night was from Jasmine Glam here in San Diego.
Yeah.
So she was all in red, and she had a giant lemon wedge on her head. And at first I was like, what? And then I saw her hands. She was a lobster.
Oh my God.
With a lemon wedge on her head. And then her
amazing.
purse was a slab of butter. It was so cool. It was probably my favorite. I was like, I hate you. That is so good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Eric has a really good idea for our costumes next year. No, we can't say it.
For a red dress?
Yeah,
because
for
you're
red
going to go
dress.
next year. You don't have a choice now that you're a co-host on the show.
We're going. Yes. But Eric has. We'll let you know next year.
We'll
a year in waiting.
So it was a very fun event, a fun night. We went out afterwards. We went to Rich's actually, which for me is like, I'm like it's like boom, 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 boom. And I had fun. It was a great night. I saw all the queens were out. I have to say Paris from Inside Out, Paris the Drag Queen here in San Diego. Her outfit, she was I want to say hydrangea, the flower.
Yes, I saw the pictures. Yes.
It was insane. I
Gorgeous.
was like, God damn you. Well, I'll throw a picture up right now so everybody can see what we're talking about. This outfit was insane. If you want to see our outfits, go on our Instagram, whoinvitedher_podcast, or watch us on YouTube and you'll see
all the
pictures of it.
pictures.
Yeah.
It looked amazing.
So last weekend after Red Dress, the next day I went to one of my favorite places here in San Diego, Inside Out, had brunch with Miss Megan, who used to be on the show, and our other friend Stacy. Great brunch. The way they have decorated Inside Out for the holidays, for Halloween, it's very Alice in Wonderland.
Is it?
It's so pretty.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but you know what I did on Sunday?
What?
afterwards.
We got so quiet just
I
then.
know, because this is going to be very revealing, and I'm going to feel very vulnerable saying this.
Okay.
I came home, and I smoked a lot of weed. Is anybody surprised?
Is that the vulnerable part?
Yes, this makes me very vulnerable. I smoked a lot of weed, and I made a giant pot of pasta with Alfredo sauce.
I was going to ask what kind.
And I watched Hocus Pocus too.
Finally. That's
Yeah.
my dream.
Yeah. I will talk more about this when Eric's on the show,
Yeah, we all
and
talk
hopefully
about it
Marion
together.
T comes back and we can dive into the whole Hocus Pocus thing. But I'm going to say people who are hating on this movie are a bunch of, I'm sorry, but you're a bunch of whiny idiots. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Dumb.
You're right to have your opinion, but if you were expecting this movie to be Oscar worthy,
If you even thought that this would pass as cinema,
as a good movie,
get out of here.
you know what? You're the one smoking weed.
This is on you.
So I went into it with the lowest expectations possible.
Me too.
You know my diehard obsession with Bette Midler, right?
Yes.
So I was like, she will do no wrong, no matter what she does. Well, maybe some, but
Sweet.
but even the first movie was a shitty movie. But it's so good that it's so bad it's good,
It's
right?
so bad, it's good. And we have watched it so many times
so
that
many
maybe we
times.
have like brainwashed ourselves
that-
into thinking it's
yeah.
okay, but it's not. It's tanked.
It did horrible in the box office.
Campy. It's weird. There are plot holes.
So there is like no, like it didn't pick up steam and become popular till years after its
Yeah.
release, right?
Because
when it
of
hit
us.
TV and streaming. Yeah, our
Yeah.
generation.
Because
yeah.
of us.
Yeah, our obsession and the gays, obviously.
Exactly.
The gays.
100%.
our obsession.
Our obsession.
So I went into Hocus Pocus 2 with very low expectations.
And a lot of pasta.
And pot. I highly enjoyed it. It was so stupidly cheesy and
loved
over the
it.
top, and none of it made sense. But the fact that the Sanders, spoiler alert. So if you haven't watched it, you should.
Oh, yes. Stop now.
The fact that when the Sandersons sisters first show up, they do a musical number. I was like, come on. My little gay heart was so happy.
I was like, this is it.
yeah.
You have captured it. You came back to play.
And you know what? They knew it was a shitty movie. They were like, you know what? Who gives a
This
fuck?
is fun.
Let's just have
this
fun.
is for funsies.
Yeah.
And it's for us. It's for us spooky little kids, us little gays
Yeah.
that loved it so much.
And we just wanted to see the Sanderson
yeah,
sisters
we just
more.
wanted to see them together again. It
Yeah.
wasn't for you guys.
It was-
wasn't
yeah.
for the critics. It wasn't like be like, oh, this is like a classic.
Yeah, but the people online, everybody's like, oh, it was awful, blah, 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 blah. You know what? You calm down. Calm down.
Sorry, calm down.
Yeah,
What were
chill
you
out.
expecting?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? The Godfather
I
Part
know.
2?
They're like, it has to be like Schindler's List. I want to be moved. I want to cry.
I want to cry.
I'm like, come on, calm down.
I want to believe in love again. No.
No.
We just want to see Bette Midler. We want to see Sarah Jessica Parker's
And Kathy
boobies
Najimy.
and Kathy Najimy's
Making
hair.
really bad mom jokes.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And I was all for it. I loved it. I love that they had like a younger cast who's going to
Mm-hmm.
pick up the torch. All of that. There was so many throwbacks to the first movie.
That's what I loved.
Which I really appreciated. I loved all the shtick.
I
And
loved it.
You know what it felt like? Like a modern version of like a vaudevillian show.
Yes,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yes,
it was
I
just
know
so
exactly what you mean.
cheesy and like waka waka waka.
They were
And I was
playing
like
to
all
the
for
audience.
it.
They
Yeah,
were
I
playing
was all
to us.
for it.
And
yeah.
so you ate pasta, and I do that. Whenever I want to watch a scary movie,
Yeah.
I also want pasta.
Do you?
It's just a weird thing I
Why?
have. Did I tell you about my pregnancy thing?
No, what?
When I was pregnant, middle of summer, I'm like 9 months pregnant. I tell my then husband, my first husband,
Your only husband?
my first and only, R.I.P.
Choices.
I know. But I was like, it's like probably 90 degrees out. I was like, all I want is a goddamn plate of spaghetti, and I want to watch Addams Family Values.
Debbie.
Debbie. I was like, I want to see them go to camp. I want marinara sauce. I want garlic bread. And then I want to watch that.
See them
I
go
want to
to
watch that tiny baby.
Pubert.
Pubert.
Wasn't his name
His
Pubert?
name was Pubert,
Yeah,
and I
his
wanna
name
see
was
Pubert.
Pubert.
But I
Yeah.
think, like, I don't know, pasta and scary movies goes together for me.
Yeah. That is so
It
random
sounds
as
so weird.
shit.
But I loved Hocus Pocus too.
Did you watch? Did
I
Flynn
watched
watch it with you?
Flynn watched it, and she liked it.
It's made for kids, old gays,
Yeah.
and the
And like theater kids. I'm like,
yeah, theater kids for sure.
It,
Yeah.
it
It's very nostalgic for me.
It captured the essence of the first movie in that it was bad.
It was absolutely. You know what I did notice on the show?
What?
You have a very quiet voice.
We've talked about this. Now I'm yelling.
Are you?
We've talked about this, so
Do I sound really loud? Audience members, if you think I talk too loud, please call 619-822-2369. Leave a message at how much you hate how loud my voice and screechy it is.
Or
how
quiet
Brynne is.
So my first podcast that I ever had, you know this, all of the comments were about, it was me and another woman, all about our voices.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes it was our voices are too shrill. Sometimes we had too much vocal fry. One dude called our voices intolerable.
They call our show intolerable.
So
you know what somebody said about me and Eric when we used to laugh at the same time?
Oh, God,
We
what?
fixed it. We sounded like two dolphins talking to each other. Right?
I have been told that
yeah,
it's like so high.
Stupid,
You do. I've been told that my laugh sounds like a car starting, and it does because it's like it does.
Okay, back to the shrill voices.
Yes. So I think I'm afraid that my voice is so shrill that I don't know how to modulate it in a way that's pleasing to the male. Not gaze, but ear.
The male ear. So wait, how do you fix this then? Wait, give an example of vocal fry for people that don't know.
Oh, so vocal fry is like when you talk like this and it's really granulated and the Kardashians do it. But I get because if I go low, I will have vocal fry. But it's because it's like that Elizabeth Holmes. It's like I'm trying to make my voice lower so that you don't call me shrill. But if I were to talk like
the loudest, talk without blowing out the mic. Talk the loudest you think is loud for you.
Okay. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
George Washington slept here.
Why George Washington? Wait. Why was that what you went for?
I think if I were ever to be like really authoritative, it would be because I was telling people that George Washington had slept somewhere.
In what situation are you telling people George Washington slept here?
We're in Vermont and we see a bench and someone's and I'm like, George Washington slept here. And
on a bench in Vermont?
Maybe. I don't know what his life was like.
Out of all of the things you could have said
to
give an example of your loudest voice, you said George Washington slept here. I'm going to put that on a shirt for the show. George Washington slept here.
So I just want everyone. That is how what comes into my mind when I'm thinking about being commanding. But that's probably I like. George Washington slept here.
There you go.
Is
There's
that
some
good?
volume.
This sounds insane to me.
Does it?
Yeah. I feel insane.
You feel shrill
and
intolerable?
I feel shrill and intolerable.
I feel like my voice is shrill.
I feel very exposed right now, actually.
I feel like my face is shrill and intolerable. That's why we do a podcast. No, I'm kidding.
That really made me laugh.
But you guys, not talking about shrill and intolerable. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to have our guest, Chadwick Johnson. I was going to say Jackson for some reason.
Bo Jackson.
This is the alcohol. Chadwick Johnson is coming on the show. I'm really excited to talk about him.
Very talented.
I can't wait to break down his album. Try not to fangirl out. It's going to be a lot of fun. But you guys, we will be right back.
Thanks, guys.
If you're watching the show on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give these idiots a like. You can follow the show on Instagram at whoinvitedher_podcast and on Twitter and Facebook at whoinvitedhersd. Visit the show's website at whoinvitedher.net for merchandise and other crap. Now sit back and enjoy the rest of this dumpster fire.
everybody. We are back, and we have our very special guest today that I'm super excited to chat with. He is a singer-songwriter, and he just released his fourth album, September 16th, Unbreakable. It's Chadwick Johnson.
Yay.
Welcome to the show,
Hey.
Chadwick. I was gonna call
What's
you
going
Chad.
on? Thank you so much for having me. This is
Look,
fun.
all of our children in the studio audience are so happy you're here. You hear them?
The crowd goes wild. I feel
Full of
very
kids,
welcome.
So watch
Thank
what
you.
you say.
I know. So this is your fourth album that you released, Unbreakable, that just came out in September. I actually listened. I knew who you were before this album because of your Las Vegas live album. You did a
Thank
cover of one of my favorite songs, Pink's "The Glitter in the Sky" song, and it's one of my favorite covers that I've ever heard of that song. And nobody ever knows that song. So that's how I first was introduced to you, was from your live Vegas album. And now you have
Wow.
your new album, which is Unbreakable, which is as a fan of yours, very different from like your first album compared to now. And this one seems way more personal than your previous one. So how did Unbreakable come about? What made you decide to do this type of album?
First of all, thank you for knowing my version of Glitter in the Air. I think
Yeah.
it's one of the best songs ever
It's
written.
so good.
Pink,
It's so underrated.
Pink is a monster talent.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I haven't actually done it in a long time. So you're inspiring me to like perform it again.
Oh, hey.
I love
That's
that.
awesome.
Love that tune. But yeah, Unbreakable is something that my co-writer Kalani and I wrote over the last 2 years. And we were just really, we wanted to do something more personal. We wanted to put songwriting at the front of this project. So it's actually 12 original songs and one cover tune. So that was really, really exciting. And, we kind of just focused on writing about the things that we all go through in life, so there's not just one topical theme. And then from a sound aspect, we really went for that singer-songwriter kind of classic sound, real instrumentation. I went to Nashville and recorded most all the instruments, which was a
That's
really
amazing.
cool experience. And then, we recorded the strings in Las Vegas. We recorded the horns on one of the tunes in LA. So it's, that's kind of the fun when we were talking about technology, is that you can bring together all these amazing musicians, arrangers, writers who don't even have to live in the same city anymore. And we can collaborate and hopefully make magic, even though, we're all over the place. So that's a really cool aspect of the modern world we're living in.
How long did this album take you to write? Because I know, like, especially the Unbreakable song, I'm like, that is a very personal song, it feels like. How long did the process take you to write the songs with because you had a co-writer for most of it, right?
Yep, Kalani Kwepo, we wrote everything together for this album. We wrote most of the songs over the last 2 years, and we all were living through difficult, uncertain times in the last 2 years. We don't even have to talk about that. We all know what that's all about.
Yeah.
So, some of the songs are really, really kind of inspired by what we were feeling and the highs and the lows in that time. And Unbreakable is the most recent song we've written. And I think, it was at a time when things were starting to feel like they were going to come back and they were going to get better. And I was feeling resilient and like, I was recharged again and ready to take on the world. And so it was a really positive place for me in writing that song. And I hope and I believe that a lot of people can relate to finding that inner strength and resilience and being unbreakable.
I love what you said. You had a quote where you said that you changed your perspective on your songwriting. So instead of coming from a place of like being broken and writing the songs that reflected that, you switched it. You said resilience. And I love that. And I think that's such an awesome place to come from. How did you get to that place where you realized like, I want to shift my perspective on how I'm writing these songs?
I think we were realizing in our writing sessions, like we needed to do that. We needed to offer hope for ourselves and for those who listen to our music, because, I mean, the news cycle, the world we're living in, you can get inundated with negative, heavy things. And music can definitely help us process those heavier aspects of life. But we needed something that was, reminding ourselves and our listeners that we have the strength to move forward and make great things out of adversity and find ourselves resilient. So.
Yeah, and I think especially now it feels like there's a shift where people are so tired of like all the negative and
Like
dark.
ruminating on the
I'm like,
negative
give me
stuff.
something
Yeah.
fun. Give me something that's
Yes.
gonna make me feel inspired.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So we wrote a song on the album. I don't know if you've had a chance to check it out yet. It's called Meet Me in the Sky.
Yes.
And it's kind of an up-tempo pop tune. And that's what we were
Yes.
writing about. It was like our little fantasy dream of what it would be like, we were in the lockdown and what it was going to be like when we all came back together at concerts, and that music was going to bring us back together. And that's what I love about live music, is how it brings people
I listened
together.
to that song, and the first thing I said was like, "Oh my God, it's about smoking weed and getting high and meeting in the sky." That's what I was like. I love
Totally
this
can
song.
be that
It's
too.
totally me.
No, it was about hope.
I know.
That actually went through my head. People are going
Yeah.
to think this is about getting a little high, I guess. So
And I was like, I'm fine with that, being in California.
Hey, we all relate to music, however, that's what sometimes I don't
Exactly.
even like to tell what I was writing about,
Yep.
because everybody relates to a song in their own way. So
They'll
that's
have
fun.
their own interpretation of
Exactly.
the song. On the new album, Unbreakable, what's your personal favorite track on the whole album? Do you have one? Because I'm sure all of them are your little babies.
I can't probably pick one. It's Unbreakable is definitely one, which is why I chose it to be the title track of the album. I love the cover we did of Crowded House, Don't Dream It's Over. I just love the way it turned out. It wasn't too much. It was subtle. It had a modern aspect, but yet a classic singer-songwriter aspect. And, a friend suggested the song, and I didn't realize how, we all know that song. It's
Yeah,
iconic,
it's a
but
classic.
I didn't realize the lyrics and how much I loved them.
That's
So,
my
until I was
favorite
doing
one.
it.
Not that I don't love the ones that you write yourself, but the way that I was able to, because we've all heard that song a million
Yeah.
times, but when I heard it on your album, I was like, oh, it's like I'm hearing a new song for the first time, which is hard to do when you do a cover, is to like pay homage to it, but then still sort of put your own twist on it, and you did that very well.
It seems
Well,
like you
thank you.
stripped the song down so the lyrics were more up front instead of the actual music, which I was like, I even know what this song was about until you know what I mean?
Well, cool, because
Yeah.
that's how I felt when I was learning the lyrics. I was like, oh, I didn't even realize the whole story here. I just knew that hooky chorus. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy to know that you all feel like we accomplished.
I
getting
was
that story
excited
across.
on this Unbreakable that it was all original except for one cover, because I know on your live album, the Live Vegas one that I like, it was a lot of covers. And then you also did, I think on the first album, there was a couple covers, because I know you did Edge of Glory by Lady Gaga, and you slowed that down, which is a great, if you guys get a chance to check it out, it's a good cover. So
Cool.
this, I was really happy to see like a bunch of all original. It was really cool. Like, oh, now it's like, this is Chadwick's voice coming through. He wrote, okay. And it kind of, as an audience member and somebody who's familiar with your music, it's like, oh, now we get to see a little more about you instead of like in a cover type of thing, which is really nice on the album, I think. So.
Did that make
Awesome.
you feel more vulnerable?
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, but it also makes it more, important to you. And you put, I mean, I love covering tunes. That's kind of its own thing. Like you find what that song means to you and you try to bring it through in your interpretation of it. But yeah, it's totally more personal and vulnerable
Yeah.
to be writing about your own experiences. I mean, some of them, we wrote a song on the album called Who's Gonna Save Me? And that song, it's a bit dark and heavy, but it's an important topic for me in that it's about abuse and
Mhm.
and even, the things we were inspired by were, people that have been abused, people that have been human trafficked. It just weighs heavy on me. And so, but I've never experienced those things. Thank God. But it was important for us to write something that brought to light that important message and encouraged, people to ask questions.
Yeah, because there's going to be somebody that listens to that song and they're going to relate to it because unfortunately maybe they went through that, and that's always like amazing when
you have that space to connect through music to something that a lot of people don't write songs about or sing about. I think that's amazing for you to do, for those people to be able to connect in that way.
For sure. So now that this album is out and you're going to be in New York is your next stop, right? Where are you going to be in New York? I'm
going to be playing at Chelsea Table and Stage on Thursday, the 13th. It's a great newer venue.
Yeah. Because you did Bird Rock before, didn't you?
Yeah.
I remember seeing the videos.
Yeah. So I'm excited to play in this new venue. They do a really cool live stream so people can watch wherever they're at. And I've got some great musicians joining me there. I have a couple awesome special guests. My co-writer is flying out for the show, Kalani Kwepo, and he's going to be performing with me live the duet that we do on the album. It's a song called On My Way. And then I have a special guest, Nick Rouleau from Book of Mormon and the show Uncoupled.
Amazing.
So he's going to come and we're going to do surprise duets from a musical. So that
I'm such a musical nerd. So I would that is exciting.
Those of us not in New York, we can stream.
Stream it.
Maybe we can link to
on our website for sure.
Get the link up.
For anybody who's interested, I'm sure it's going to be an amazing concert. But since we're talking about that, there is a song on your album called Ritual, and it's one of my favorite ones on the album. But what is your personal ritual when you perform live? Do you have anything you do like right before you go on stage?
Someone else asked that question. Do I have any rituals before I go on stage? I'm not like superstitious about live performances. I'm like kind of just cool. Like some singers won't even eat before they sing. Like I can be eating right before I go out on stage. I don't care.
That's like a true talent though. Like you have to have the chops to back that up. Because if you're eating before, props to you.
It doesn't bother me. I'm lucky that way. I don't know that I have any ritual before I go on stage. Probably just, I always try to, it can be crazy putting on a live show and there's so many pieces that people don't even realize and that you have to remember and moving parts. And I always, right before I walk out, remind myself to make sure that I have fun and that I share love with people, because that's, no matter if everything goes perfect or not, it's all about just having a real experience with people.
Yeah.
That's so nice. Ours is just to drink.
And we do a calming circle.
Well, sometimes there's a cocktail involved. Sometimes there's one involved.
Loosen us up a little, listen to a little music.
That was like so deep. Chadwick's like, I like to give back and I like to give love. And I was like, we just drink and talk shit about our friends.
And then we feel ready to go.
Exactly. And a cocktail's a great way to loosen up. And I can usually have maybe one before a show or like a half. But if I want to hit those notes, that is the one thing.
Because I would say this, your voice is insane.
It is insane. Your range is truly phenomenal.
And I remember reading an interview you did, and somebody compared you to Sam Harris, who I saw in the Life in New York, and he's an amazing singer. And I was like, absolutely right. It's like that vocal quality. It's insane. Like I'm like, I hate you. Too good. Too good. Just stop already.
Thank you. Sam Harris is awesome. I've seen him in LA many times, and he's just an incredible singer. I'm actually doing a show with his pianist, Todd Schroeder, in LA coming up November 29th at Feinstein's. At Patello's.
Yeah, Michael
and
Feinstein,
Todd and I are going to do a show together. I'm super excited about it. We haven't played in years, and he's Sam's pianist. So.
Who are some of your musical influences, especially when you were growing up and then now, especially and when you were doing this album? Was there any artists you were listening to that influenced your storytelling, your writing, and all of that?
Totally. So growing up, I don't know if you know, but I grew up on a horse ranch. I have a horse actually. And I ride still. But so I had a lot of country influences, but I kind of like the soulful ones. So I loved like the Judds when I was growing up, when I was a kid.
Oh.
Yeah. And so that was kind of like artists like that were kind of my early influences. Dolly Parton, like I loved her songwriting and her storytelling.
She needs to be turned into a saint.
I think she is.
Yes, she does.
Yeah. And then, but for this album, though, to answer that question, I was really, for the last couple of years, I've really been inspired by Brandi Carlile's songwriting. She's an incredible writer. I love her arrangements. I love her authenticity. I also am really like into Ben Platt right now. So I love that, Yeah, I just saw his
album
show.
was really good.
Yes,
really good.
His voice is insane, just like yours.
But
on
I think.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I love him. He's like a singer, and he's just so talented.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Unbreakable, when I was listening to it, especially the song I think it's By My Lover Again. There's a lot of country influences. You can hear like the undertones on a lot of the songs, and I was like, I wonder if that's because he's a fan of country music or because it was recorded in Nashville, parts of it.
No, I do like country music. I don't sound country at all, but I love the storytelling of a lot of country music. And that song, actually, no one's asked me about Be My Lover Again.
And it's a duet.
It's a duet. I wrote it for my dad and my stepmom. They just have a beautiful relationship, and they're like awesome partners. And so I wrote it about them and about their relationship.
So much sense now. You said that because that's one of my favorite songs on the album, and I was thinking, I wonder what like it's supposed to be about, because I could kind of make my own interpretation of it as an audience member. But knowing that, okay, that's gonna be interesting when I listen back to it.
Yeah.
So it's written for your mom and your stepdad, you said?
Yeah. No, my dad and my stepmom.
Oh, that's what a loving tribute. That's
I know.
So nice.
Yeah, and then I wrote a song for my mom too. I had to write one for her too.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't put your stepmom on the album and not your mom.
Exactly.
Wait,
although they get along great, they're friends.
Okay,
it's cool.
What song was for your mom?
It's I think it's track 9. It's called "I'll Hold Your Hand."
I love that one. That's so funny. I'm gonna play that for my daughter later too.
Yeah,
our song too.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to ask, what is currently on your playlist that you're listening to?
I'm probably going to bore you with this. I'm always learning something. So sometimes I'm not. When I want to listen to stuff for my enjoyment, it's usually stuff from like my youth, like older stuff. And it's always changing. Otherwise, I'm always like on the grind. I'm learning, like looking at stuff for production so I mean, I have been listening to a lot of Chris Stapleton because I love his writing, and I'm always checking out the productions, and Ben Platt, like I said, I've been kind of that new album, I've been kind of just obsessing on it. But yeah, I'm trying to think. It seems like I'm always in that work mode where I'm studying music,
It's hard because, like, as a comic, people will say, what comics are you like loving right now? And I was like, I don't.
You're like, I hate them all.
I love them, but like, I get, because you're like, if I'm writing jokes, I'm just like studying, and I'm not just sitting down to listen to comedy, but you're it's all like edification. You're doing it, you're always working. And I guess that's an interesting point, because for so many people, music is like their escape, but music is your job. So
you must view it differently than somebody who can't sing or write music. Do you know what I mean? Which is interesting.
Yeah, you listen to it differently because you're kind of obsessed on creating, and so you're looking for inspirations, but so
what is going to be okay? So I know when we had Spencer Day on, we were talking about his like next album and ideas he had for albums. So what for you, Chadwick, is going to be your next project that you are like, someday I want to put an album that's like this? What would that be?
I don't yet have the answer for what the next album would be, but I know that I'm in the process right now working on putting together a Christmas single
Oh,
or a
I was
holiday
Just gonna
single.
ask you, why don't you have a Christmas album out? Your voice would be perfect for it.
That's probably the next thing I need to
That
do,
would
but I'm
be
going to
so
kick it off
good.
with this single.
Yeah.
It's a song that we wrote as well. It's called It's Almost Christmas. And
Ooh.
it's, writing like a holiday tune is really difficult because it's very nostalgic for people.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
things that we think of when we think of that time of year are always things that remind us of those great times when we were a kid or whatever.
Yeah.
So we tried to infuse like, some of that, some of those nostalgic throwbacks in the lyrics, but then bring our own perspective. So it'll be fun to release it. So that'll come out in December.
Oh, so that'll be out in time for this Christmas. Ooh, we'll have
Yeah.
to get it played on the show.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would be so happy to hear your versions of classic Christmas songs.
That's true.
I'm
too,
like a
yeah.
Christmas junkie. That's like my favorite holiday. So, since we are getting into the holiday season, are you dressing up for Halloween?
Oh yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
busy?
but I don't know what I'm going to be
I
yet.
don't either.
It's always hard for me. Yeah.
Oh.
What are y'all going to be? And what's the new trend? Like, what's
that's-
everybody going for?
My daughter is 7, so she is going to be the goddess Athena, and I'm going to be
That is
Medusa.
so random.
Yeah, I'm going to be Medusa. She's obsessed with Greek mythology right now, so it was like
Is she?
she is.
so
So she's
weird.
like, I'm going to be Athena, and I was like, cool, I can be like Hera or another goddess, and she's like, no, you can be Medusa. And I was like,
I love
She's like,
that.
no, mom,
That-
you're
fine.
Medusa.
I'm fine with that.
Well, we did have
That
an
is
idea for the show
hilarious.
because we dress up on the show for our big Halloween show, and
Yeah.
and I'm like, these kids are not gonna get it, but we were gonna do the Three's Company, where our other co-host Eric, who is this 6'2"
You guys
big
are
bear
so tall.
guy, was gonna do Chrissy, and I'd be Janet, and you would be Jack.
And I'd be
But
Jack.
I'm like, all these 20-something-year-old kids that listen, they're not gonna know who that is.
Oh, that's true.
We
They
could
won't
be
know who it
hilarious.
for my daughter's,
Well, they might.
They
Yeah.
might. Yeah.
They might.
Three's
For my
Company.
daughter's first like actual Halloween that she could walk, we were Big Edie and Little Edie from Grey Gardens. Nobody knew
amazing.
it, but it was for
It's
me.
funny.
Yeah.
Do you
Yep,
dress up
that's
for
fun.
Halloween, Chadwick?
Oh, what did I do last year? I'm always like, it's last minute and I don't want to do like a big costume.
Yeah.
So I think last year I was like Tom Cruise from Risky Business. So I just
Oh,
went in my
oh,
underwear and
nice.
socks.
Yeah.
And
And I'm sure it was a hit.
well, it definitely got some talk.
Oh,
You know.
yeah.
Me sliding around the floor in my underwear.
So
But,
do you?
um,
I mean, that's interesting though, because like probably the holidays are really busy times of the year for you. So do you ever get to just unplug, or either you're performing or you're writing or both?
Yeah, that's kind of the great thing about the Christmas holiday that
Mhm.
week, because pretty much everybody in the business, those couple weeks right there, just
Oh,
You
that's
know,
good.
it kind of shuts down unless you have a private party to perform for or something.
Yeah.
So that is a nice time to recharge,
Oh, that's
because it's a nice long break.
A long
So,
break.
and there's nothing you can do but just, hang
Yeah.
out and
yeah.
drink.
So
Not
I
stress.
wanted to go back to your horse training. How did that come about? Like, here you are writing this amazing album, amazing songs, and then you're training horses on the side. Like, where did that come from? How did you get into that?
My dad got me into it when I was a little kid. Every kid, a lot of kids want a pony, they want a horse.
Yeah.
But my dad had always had horses. He had them growing up. So he really allowed me to, get into horses in a way that I could really make it my
Yeah.
thing. And so, yeah, it was, we kind of figured out, I kind of had a talent for training and working with them as I got like in junior high and high school. So I did that a lot. And then I got, getting into the entertainment business, it doesn't really go together. So I
Yeah.
kind of had some years away from it. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, I got a horse again and got back into
that's
riding. And it's just, it's nostalgic for me because it was part of my youth. But horses are just, they're beautiful, powerful creatures that are very free, and they need you to connect with them in a way that they're not verbal really.
Yeah.
So it's all body language, and it's just a beautiful thing, and it's a great part to have in my life, and it's completely different and totally grounding, different than the entertainment business. So I love that time.
When did
important question.
Go ahead.
Do you sing to your horse? And if so, what's your favorite song to sing to your horse?
Or what is your horse's favorite
What's
song?
Your horse's favorite song
that you sing to him or her?
During the pandemic, I did a lot of live streaming shows, and I did them from my backyard with my horse right there in the background. And I was out there singing, and that was fun.
Yeah.
And people got a kick out of it.
For sure.
But I don't know if he cares. If I
Oh no! See, that's very grounding, because you're like off jet setting, doing your shows, and then you come home and your horse doesn't care. He's like, "Give me a carrot and an apple."
Exactly.
When did you start in singing? When did you realize, oh shit, I have this talent, and I'm gonna pursue this?
My earliest memories of singing were with my grandmother in church. My grandmother has a beautiful voice, and she played piano. And so those are my earliest memories, like from 5 years old. So it was always just a part of my life, but I probably didn't really realize till high school that I was like, oh, this is something that I want to do. I was actually singing the national anthem when it dawned on me. At a horse event. So
the all ties together.
Yeah. So that was that's probably when it clicked. I think it clicked because I realized that you can have, just a great connection with people through music. That's what clicked in me, and that's what drove me. And I, before that, I was thinking I would do something with horses professionally. But that's the great thing about being a kid. You just try everything and see what works for you. Yeah, exactly.
But on this album, one of the main things I really like about Unbreakable is it has a very storytelling feel to it. On top of like power ballad after power ballad after power ballad, which I love. I'm a sucker for that shit.
Yeah.
So the storytelling on this album is so different than the previous albums. What made you want to more focus on the storytelling than just doing a cover of another song and putting your interpretation on it?
I think I just think that's where I've grown and evolved as an artist, and that's what's more important to me. That's what I'm drawn into in the music that I love. And I think the further you go in your journey in life, you have more to say, and you have more to share with people.
Yeah.
And there's no more beautiful way than getting across a message that's important to you or a story that's important to you than with music. I always say the lyric tells the story, but the melody transports you.
Oh, wow.
It's it's when you put the music with it that takes you somewhere your imagination runs away. And so I think that is something that has been really important to me to hone.
Yeah. And another reason why I really like this album is a lot of the songs, like after you listen to it the first time, you're like, I like that. The second time you listen to it, it's like, oh, I just noticed that lyric. Third time you listen to it, you're like, oh my God, I totally get what he's saying. It's like every time, it's like you discover something new on, especially Unbreakable. That's the song I would say that is very layered when I listen to it. I was like, oh, he was going through stuff when he was writing this.
We're going through it, but we're out the other side now.
Right?
We're doing great. Did you get to hear the song? It was actually the first single that we released off the album called The Point.
Yes.
Yes.
I was like, your sassy song. That's the one on the album I call his sassy song.
Exactly. This shit's baloney.
Yeah.
I can't believe I was going to say it. I told Tony, I was like, my favorite line is that shit's baloney.
Yeah, I was like, bravo.
My dad always used to say that. He was like, oh, that's baloney.
It's
And then I was like, oh,
right?
I love it.
Yeah. I love on the album, he has the explicit version, and then there's the radio version, the cleaned up one.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
shit, I don't know. Is that really even a cuss
I
word
wouldn't
anymore?
say
But I was
that.
scared to death I'd get penalized or something.
I
Really?
love that. I was like, oh, he took shit out. That's all.
You know, it's for the kids. It's
For the
kids
children.
in the
For
For
the
audience.
the
children.
kids, yeah. So they can say baloney.
Baloney, yeah.
So who is your, other than Ben Platt, because we know you love him, who is like your dream duet partner?
Yeah.
Mm.
That you would love. Two-parter.
Dead or
love
alive?
to write a song with and love to perform with. They don't have to like be the same.
Right. That could be different. Right?
Yeah.
Right,
Good call, Tony.
Thank you.
I have always really wanted to like create something with David Foster. I've had the opportunity to record
I was gonna
his
ask you.
music,
Yeah.
but never to like collaborate. Right. To me, he's so brilliant.
Yeah.
So that would probably be that one. And then to perform with, that's hard to pick one.
Yeah. Because
We used to say in like, in my youth, like high school days, I would say it was Celine Dion. Like I was so into her at one
that is
point.
so funny you say that because there's a parts on the song on the album that I'm like, this is such a Celine Dion song.
Celine.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You guys are
It's
already-
very ballad, like power ballad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
There was
she
a
was
couple
like
moments on the album that I thought, oh, Celine, okay.
be pounding my chest. Yeah, I mean, like to me, like I think growing up, her voice was like, whoa,
Yeah.
And then when I saw her live, then you were like, oh, she actually sounds that good in person. A lot of people don't quite nail those
100%.
notes
Yes.
live the way they do on the record. She does. She's
Yeah.
something.
You know what I would love to see you with? Can I say my dream duet partner?
Yes, I want to know
For
because
him.
maybe I'll make it mine.
Is like
Go ahead,
someone
Brynne.
just like so like Dave Grohl.
Oh,
Just like, because I just think that you two together, because your voice is like so beautiful and nuanced, and he is like powerful, and and I think you two together would just be like very special. That's what I was. That's
I
my
like
dream.
that. See, you're thinking outside the
Wow,
box.
kinda
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Dave
gonna have to
Grohl,
think
if you're
about
up
that.
there.
If you're listening to this little show of ours.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
I just think because your voice, you can do so many different things. It would be,
And your range is insane.
Yeah.
For our audience, his range is ridiculous.
Yeah. So like, it would be lovely to have you with someone that like could go toe to toe with you.
Yeah.
So and like a different sort of.
Thank
mix.
you.
What style music did you grow up on? Were you listening to everything, or were you like a punk kid, or like what did you grow up listening to?
It was a lot of the country music.
Yeah.
Like soulful country. That's kind of what my world was,
Yeah.
I was always more drawn to the ones that were bluesy though,
And that influence is on the album too. Like there's a little bit of jazz, a little bit of blues, lots of country influence, and like power 80 ballads that are actually sound really contemporary.
Yeah, I would say that you have the soul. You don't sound country, but you have the soul of the country, which is the storytelling and the emotion.
Oh, good. And the other huge influence I didn't mention, but somebody gave me, I mean, it was before my time, but they gave me that Journey album, that live album they did.
Yeah.
And I like obsessed on that in high school because Steve Perry's voice was just
It's insane.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
And
out
it's
of,
it's insane.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead or Alive, that's the other who you should do.
There
You should-
We better make sure he's actually dead.
I know. Is he?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Wait, who?
Steve Perry.
He's alive, isn't
I
he?
don't know. He's alive. Yeah.
He's
Oh,
alive.
Yeah.
I don't want to R.I.P. anyone.
R.I.P.
I'll be all sad.
Everyone's just like crying. We're like,
We're just
JK.
kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah.
We only did our research on you, Chadwick.
That's
we did
it.
not do a research
Any
on
other-
anyone.
Well, I'm honored.
Oh, Chadwick, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. What? You have one more follow up?
Just what do you want people to know about this album? Like
Yeah.
you've spoken a lot about what it means to you and all of that, like what and what you were hoping to accomplish, but what are you just like your final thoughts, like you want people to know when they're listening, when they're buying?
Your takeaway.
Yeah.
I want people just to listen with an open heart and an open mind. There's, like we've discussed, it's music that all different subject matters, and that's what we all are. Our lives are, we're not one thing, and we don't have to be labeled one thing. We can be many things. And I think for me, that's what this music was. It's all these different parts of my life and my experience and the things that are important to me. And I hope people will see that and be inspired to live their authentic self.
Yeah. It's a great album.
It's
like
amazing.
As somebody who knows your music before this album, this so far, I do.
Tony's like,
I'm a fan. Leave me alone.
I'm so impressed.
I
That's awesome.
personally like this album because it's like I said, it's a bunch of power ballads, and it's very like heartfelt and
you can truly listen to it. I listened to it like in the car. Some music you have to be in a mood for. I listened to it in the car. I listened to it while I was getting ready. I listened to it while I was chilling.
When I was editing last week's episode, because I had heard the new album, I think when I got back from Croatia, and then I put it on while I was putting together our last episode when I was editing.
Oh yeah, that's so. It's like all occasion music.
Yeah,
you don't have to be in a mood for it. I think that's what's so great.
And it's really good for those nights when you want to stay home and get really stoned and lay on the floor and eat munchies. Perfect album for it. Yeah. You're gonna cry your eyeballs out on some of the tracks, which is great. But yeah.
But not on all of them. There's
not
some
fun
stuff. Yeah.
Then listen to The Point. That'll wake you up and like get you all sassy mooded. It's great. Yeah. I really enjoy the album. It's a great album. Let people know where they can find you, where your next performance dates are, because you're going to be in New York and then you're going to be in LA. So give everybody the info.
All right. Well, the best place to find me and what I'm doing is my website, my name, chadwickjohnson.com. There's always the show links there. There's links to everything. Of course, I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram, Chadwick Johnson Music. I'm on Facebook, Twitter. And the next shows are, I'm in New York. We're live streaming the show on October 13th at 7:00 Eastern time. And then I'm doing a show in Las Vegas on October 27th. At a place called Gatsby's, really cool, fun place. And then I'll be back in LA on November 29th. I'm doing my holiday show at Fine Signs of Vitello's. But the easiest way to remember and find is my website.
Just up the street. LA's
we should go.
Just up the street.
You should come. Please be my guest.
Yes,
please.
We would love to come and see.
Fun.
That would be so fun. We should do it.
We should do it.
Okay.
And maybe I'll get to San Diego one of these days. I played at Martini's a few years ago.
And Martini's is back. It closed down during the pandemic, but they're back and they're getting it back into the swing of doing the cabaret shows because it's a great space here in San Diego.
Loved it. Yeah.
People haven't checked out Martini's. It's a great little cabaret space that we have here.
Yeah. Really come down.
Yeah, and you can find the new album on Spotify, iTunes, everywhere you can find the album. Check it out. Also, check out my personal favorite album, the Live Vegas album, because it's a lot of really good covers. Both of those
album that we're promoting.
I know, both of the albums. Go and listen to
them. Listen to them all. That's what I like.
Get all those streams.
But it's been an absolute pleasure, Chadwick. Thank you so much for chatting with us and letting everybody know about the album. Yeah.
You've been an absolute pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you. You both are wonderful, and I'm so honored you listened to all the music and knew everything. You're really wonderful. So thank you.
No, thank you. And everybody, we will be